Welcome everyone to Planetary Meditation. If you just arrived and you just saw the conclusion of our introduction video. So, and I'll give everybody a minute because it just turned the half of the hour to log in. And I'm going to share my screen. We'll be using menti.com, and Ishita will be sharing the link and the code in the chat. And if you need a translation in Vietnamese, we have Lolita here, so we thank her for being here today. All right, so for planetary meditation today, we had before, like always, we have a newcomer introduction video. So it's a great video, especially if you want to invite a friend or somebody to planetary meditation. Be a great way to give them a little bit of a view of what we'll be doing here today. And then also we'll follow with a short welcome. And today we're very excited to have live Kiirtan with our chanting meditation with Baba Nam Kevalam, followed by guided meditation, followed by an inspirational share, and then we'll probably have some open conversation, Q&A. So just to start off with our day or morning, evening, wherever the world you are, we are a very inclusive community. We want to make sure that everyone feels welcome here. We have people from all over the globe, and people are on their different paths, different levels of meditation. So it's very important that we make sure people feel inclusive and welcome. So it is our duty to accelerate the speed of human progress. Your endless efforts to broaden and smoothen the path of human movement will render our present existence and your future history inestimable. Shri Shri Anandamurti. All right, so I ask you guys to warm up your fingers and log into menti.com, either using the link or the code, and let us know where you are in the world. So it's an interactive map. Great, we have people in Brazil, United States, looks like Vietnam. And of course, you can always use the chat too. Colombia, hi Chandrika. Somebody's drawing some beautiful arrows. So again, our goal is to always fill up this map with as many blue dots as possible. Fantastic. All right, welcome everyone. So I just want to, we've been it's been about 6 months now that we started our PLT global community, and a lot of you guys are members. And we're really excited about it. It's a great place for people to get to know each other better, to talk about the topics that we're talking about here, planetary meditation, and what we're talking about at the workshops every Sunday. It's also a great place for resources. We have recorded yoga classes and different courses that you might not even have known about. So take some time sometime to go navigate. And when you're there, we'd love for you, if you are a member, to fill out your profile so we can get to know you more and we can start interacting. So we hope to see more of you there. And on that note, so the topic of the week, tomorrow, Dada Nabhanwanda will be talking about Future of Intelligence, Part 3, Lives with Purpose. So this is the quote that we thought captures this for tomorrow. There is one moon, but its reflections, falling in countless puddles of water, appears as countless moons. No new moon is born. The same moon is being reflected in many receptacles. Similarly, the one and the same supreme consciousness is being manifested as limitless individual entities in countless mental receptacles in countless minds. So like I said, Dada will be talking about this in the inspirational share today. And then we hope that you'll be joining us tomorrow for our planetary workshop, Lives with Purpose, the Future Intelligence Part 3. So I think it's going to be I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a great series so far of workshops with Dada. And on no further, we're going to start with our, I'm going to stop share. And we are going to start with our Kiirtan, our chanting meditation with Baba Nam Kevalam. And like I said, it's going to be live, so we're very excited, and we'll let Dada begin. I will see you after the meditation.
Welcome, namaskar, good to see you all. I'm just going to make that full screen. So that is the thing we're going to be focusing on, because we're going to meditate together. I've just got to tell you, I've got this new toy. It's a neat little microphone that sits in front of me. It looks like this, but the best thing about it is it's called a Yeti. You know, like the abominable snowman, they used to call it in Tibet, this big sort of hairy ape creature that lives in the mountains. So I have one of those sitting on my desk, which makes me happy for some reason. Okay, let's meditate together. And we're going to sing this mantra. Now, your microphones should all be off, because otherwise we'll have a problem, unless you're translating, in which case we can't hear you anyway. So remember, just make yourselves comfortable, sit straight. You can relax and close your eyes. And I'll be singing the mantra, Bhavanam Kevalam. And remember the meaning behind the mantra, only the feeling of limitless love. All right? So I'll be singing the mantra for a little while, and then I'll lead you into a silent meditation. And remember to sit straight and breathe through your nose if you can comfortably. Let the mantra Bhavanam Kevalam with the music continue in your mind as though you're hearing it, you're listening to it. So you are the witness of what is happening within your mind. And then feel that this mantra is being sung to you by your inner self, a voice that is another part of you, is singing to you and bringing your attention inward towards the source of love within you. And as you come into this place where the love comes from, you find that it has no boundaries. It is limitless. And that's where you're going to spend the next few minutes, in this place of limitless love, letting the mantra continue in your mind effortlessly as though it's being sung to you. We'll just meditate like this in silence for a while. Take a deep breath. You can breathe out and relax and open your eyes when you want to.
All right, Dada, are you ready for? We're looking forward to your inspirational share. I think you're muted, Dada.
Aren't you going to read the quote first?
I can. I read it earlier, yeah, but I can read it again.
Let's hear it again.
Okay, so there is one moon, but its reflections falling in countless puddles of water appear as countless moons. No moon is born. The same moon is being reflected in many receptacles. Similarly, the one and the same supreme consciousness is being manifested as limitless individual entities in countless mental receptacles, in countless minds.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite quotes from Anandamurti. And it addresses one of the big unanswered questions from science, actually. Because though modern science has come up with or discovered many things and answered many questions, though those answers do tend to change over time, one of the big unanswered questions from the world of science is, what is consciousness? And there is no consensus around this. There are theories, but there's no consensus from the scientific world about this. But from the world of philosophy and mysticism, there is a kind of consensus. There's a commonality between the major different philosophies around this idea, and that is that there is one source of consciousness, which is universal. And this idea is that we don't generate consciousness with our brains and our minds. Rather, we are like antenna. We pick it up. It's broadcasting constantly, and we're picking it up. Another neat metaphor, which is, again, a planetary one, is it's like the sun generates light. It radiates light and heat, of course. But planets don't. Planets orbit their star or their sun, and the planets reflect light. So we're like planets orbiting this universal source of consciousness, and the light that we're reflecting is the same light. So the awareness that I'm feeling is actually the same awareness that each one of you is feeling right now. And this, of course, is what's behind this idea. You've no doubt heard this idea that we're all one somehow. It's a comforting idea, but it's not obvious. I mean, if you look around, there's at least two, right? In fact, there's thousands of things. But if we go very deep inside, we find something fundamental. And that is common to all of us. So I find this idea very, not just comforting, but it gives me a lot of hope. Because physically, we're all different. Okay, we have commonality. Most of us have two arms, and we're lucky enough to have two arms and two legs and a heart and a brain and these things. We're similar, but it's not the same heart. They're not the same legs. We're similar, but not the same physically. And in some ways, physically, we're different. I mean, if I think, okay, I'm a blue-eyed person, I'm a member of a pretty small minority. So that makes me feel separate. And I don't want to feel separate. I want to feel connected. If we go to the next level of subtlety, if you like, from the physical into the world of the mind, we start going inward. So how am I the same as others? How is each one of us the same in our minds? The internal world of thoughts and emotions and experiences and memories and dreams that we each have is dramatically different. Each one of us has our own little private universe. And yes, again, there's commonality. There are things we share, experiences we share. We share a set of emotions. In Sanskrit, we call them vrittis. There's a lot of commonality that that we share as humans, but there's tremendous variety. So mentally, in the world of the mind, we are different, we're separate. Sometimes we even connect telepathically a little bit. Sometimes we imagine we do that. Sometimes it really happens. But most of the time, in the world of our minds, we're kind of separate. We can communicate using symbols through language. Sometimes it's a different language, then we have to translate like we're doing now. But in the world of the mind, we're separate. But if we go to the next level of just pure awareness, of knowing that something's going on, of existence, that's where consciousness is reflected. And that's the one place that we're the same. If we can identify with that part of ourselves, the differences tend to drop away. We can feel, oh, I'm like this person. And that makes everything change in the way that we relate to one another. It's actually the foundation of love. It's the foundation of empathy, of compassion. It's the opposite of conflict, hatred, anger, all these things. So it is a very powerful and potentially world-changing sense of identity. The other thing that's interesting about it is not only is it common between people, this sense of awareness is common to us all, but it's the only thing that remains the same in your life through time. Your sense of I am me has been with you since you were born. Actually, before you were born. For a few months before we're born, we have some self-awareness. And it's the only thing that's going to stay with you and remain essentially the same, at least until you die, maybe beyond. That's another discussion. So this is, I think of it as the universal constant. You know, the physicists and scientists are all looking for a universal constant in maths and in the physical world. But I think that the universal constant is actually internal to us. It's this universal but very personal sense of awareness, of existence, the inner I feeling. So that's what we focus on in meditation. We're identifying with that. Rather than with all the differences of mind and body and the externalities. And it brings us closer. Closer to ourselves, but also closer to one another. So that's what I get out of that little metaphor for supreme consciousness or universal consciousness. What do you think?
What's the difference between the air that we breathe in and the air that we breathe out? Also, we're hollow inside, going from the mouth out the other end. Why do we have a separation between ourselves and the world around us? When you think about breathing alone, it's all connected in one.
That's a really interesting question. I'd like to hear what other people think about that. Well, if you have any thoughts, feel free to jump in or put them in the chat. But my thought is, yeah, it's true, of course. We physically are actually a part of our environment. I like the concept of we're hollow inside. Yeah, we're breathing, so there's sort of the air is part of us, and we are connected to that. A little extension of that. I have a good friend who's crazy about trees. She just loves trees. And she leads nature awareness exercises, sometimes in the forest. And one of them is like this. We go out into the forest in a group. It might be part of a retreat. And we stand around in a circle and close our eyes. And she explains to us, or reminds us, that the trees are breathing too. And the trees breathe out, in the daytime, oxygen. And we breathe it in. And we breathe out carbon dioxide. And the trees breathe it in. And we sustain one another. And there's this exchange of air that enables all life forms to continue and to evolve. So, we are far more connected on the physical level than we usually acknowledge. You're absolutely right.
Dada Alita asked if you could please repeat your question.
My question was just, what do you think? About the idea that on the level of pure consciousness, we are actually the same. That's the central idea. There's a funny story I heard as a child, and at the time I kind of understood it, but I didn't really get the deeper implications of it. It was very simple. It was just about 10 friends who went on a trip together. They went into the forest exploring, a kind of adventure. They spent the whole day out there and had a picnic, and then they spent some time just exploring alone and, discovering giant trees. They were in the redwood forest. And then they came back together, and before returning, one of them said, look, let's make sure everybody's here. We don't want anyone to be lost. So there were 10 of us, let's count. And he counted all the others. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 9 of us. Somebody's missing. And then the other said, no, we must all be here. I think we're all here. And somebody else counted. And they counted everybody. And they also only got 9. And they all started getting worried and thinking, well, who's missing? And they couldn't figure out who was missing. And they debated this. And finally, someone realized that none of them was counting themselves. And I always remembered this story. I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. You hear these things as a child and it's kind of funny, right? But it's also tells us something about the way that we interact with or see the world or see ourselves. So that stuck in my mind. It's what they say about the eye. The eye means the physical eye can see everything but itself. Well, it can't see the back of your head, okay. But you know what I mean. But also the eye, this works in English, I'm sorry, I don't think it works in Vietnamese. The I feeling, the feeling that I exist, if we're not careful, we see everything else, but we forget that the real thing that doesn't change, the core of our lives, is our sense of existence. And that's why we need to meditate. We need to remember that. We need to reflect on that so that we establish this really strong connection to what's unchanging and real and lasting. It's, in the Bible they have this metaphor. They talk about this fellow Peter. St. Peter, I think, built his house on the rock, and somebody else built their house on the sand. And of course the house that built on the sand, it fell over, and the house built on the rock was stable. It's a metaphor for this idea of identifying with that which is unchanging and stable and real and lasting. Sometimes we do this exercise. Arun does this really well. He's a great educator living in New York, where we stick labels to ourselves. We think, okay, what are all the things that I identify with? And they'll say, okay, I've got blue eyes, etc. We'll start physically, and we have little sticky notes, and we write on them 5 things, stick them on ourselves, and then, okay, what are 5 things that I identify with in my emotions? I feel this, I feel that, I feel this, I feel that. We stick them on ourselves. And then we have other layers, about my thoughts, my abilities, maybe my fears, all these little labels we stick on ourselves. And then all of these little elements build up of our sense of who we are. And then we sort of ask ourselves the question, okay, which one is really fundamental to me? And we start removing them. We move them layer by layer, and we end up just with this sense of I'm me. Even our name, before we're born, we don't have a name. Some of us change our names. Many of us change our names at some point in our lives.
Thank you, Dada. That was very inspiring and very thought-provoking. Left us with some good questions and a lot of thoughts to think about. So we really do appreciate that. Very insightful. Would you like to lead us on a waterfall?
Oh yeah, let's do a waterfall. So for those of you who haven't done this before, it's very simple. We use this tool in Zoom called the chat. It's an easy tool. Oh, wait on. We got a nice comment here from Peter. Welcome, Peter. This is your first time with us. I know Peter very well. He lives nearby. I want to read this out. If I recall correctly, statistics and air circulation. Then if you select randomly one single breath of one single person who lived about 2,000 years ago, and one random breath of your own, there are about 3 atoms shared between these 2 breaths. So I'm breathing air that Jesus breathed. I like that. Or Buddha, even more. He was further longer ago. Or Krishna. Oh, Caesar. Okay. Oh, it's called Caesar's Last Breath from Suresh. Oh my God. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm not such a big fan of, well, which Caesar, Augustus or Julius, but either of them, they had problems, but okay. Thanks, Peter. I love it. Okay, somebody didn't have much, some mathematician didn't have a lot to do at some point, I think. I love that. Okay, let's finish with a waterfall. So you can all click on the chat button. So you've got your little chat window open, okay? And I want you to type something in there, but don't click to share it yet. And what I want you to share is what you feel, or what you got out, what you feel, what you got out of today's meditation and this topic and this idea. And keep it very simple. Try and keep it under 5 words. Maybe 1 word. 1 word is nice. And wait, don't share it, because we'll all share it at the same time, and it becomes like a waterfall, a cascade of ideas and sort of inspiration. All right? So I'll give you just a few more seconds to type your little word or short phrase. And when I say go, we'll all click on the return, and we'll see our little waterfall, a big waterfall. You ready? We're going to all click in a moment. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see the waterfall. Here we go. Oh, nice. Okay. Expansion of mind. Inspired. Awakened. Beautiful. Connection. Full of wonder. Oh, I like that. Unity and diversity. Microcosm reflects macrocosm and vice versa from our philosopher. Thank you. Peace. Connected. And we come back to the ones I read already. Expansion of mind, inspired, awakened, beautiful connection. Power. Yeah, there's power in being connected for sure.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. That was wonderful. It's always great to finish off with that positive. I know it's one of Dada's favorite things too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So as before we conclude, we do have a workshop tomorrow with Dada. He's going to be talking on the 3rd of his series on future of intelligence. And for anybody that lives in the United States, you do have a time change tomorrow. So we will be going off universal time. So we'll be 1 hour earlier for you. Everyone else should be the same. And we hope to see you there. And we appreciate everybody coming today, and we appreciate Dada being here. And we should all wish him a happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday. And again, we hope to see you tomorrow, and we hope to see you in the community this week. And please take time to fill out your profile. That would be fantastic, and take time to navigate it. And we look forward to see you tomorrow. Baba